guys, Ginger Cook here. This is Acrylic Painting Monday. Woohoo! A lot of times people really say, oh no, Monday's coming. But you know, when Monday's coming for us, it's a wonderful acrylic painting show on YouTube. We're gonna do some new stuff and combine what we learned last week with this week, and I think it's really gonna be fun. So for those of you who didn't know what we did last week, because you sadly missed us.
How could you do that?
I don't know, but we did a painting one of what we call the old DGs, the old dead artists that lived in late 1800s. This was an American artist. His last name was Hassan, and we're going to do another one of his paintings tonight. It's a watercolor. I'm going to show you how to turn it into a very nice textured acrylic. And it's going to be really simple, easy, and I don't care who you are. I think you're all going to be able to do it. I tried to find something that was so simple, yet so spectacular when it was done. That's what I'm going for. Of course, I haven't painted it myself. It may not be spectacular at all, but we're going for that, right?
Come on, Queenness.
We're going for that, okay? So I'm going to give a shout out to our mods who are here, and Steffi, and who else is here? Judy. And we
have Judy, Luann, Miss Mona, Liz C2, and Liz 1 is without electric.
Oh yeah, Liz 1 is it doesn't have power. And some of you that may catch this show later, because unfortunately you live in part of the United States that was just blasted recently by heavy snows. And for those of you who don't live in the United States that perhaps have your power lines buried underground, you're always so surprised that people are out of electricity. How does that even happen here? I don't know. Trees fall on power lines. They freeze. Bad stuff happens. There's winds knock down trees. Suddenly people are without power. Fortunately, we have power. Our weather's been really good here in Texas, but shout out to everybody that's shoveling snow. And
been there, done that. Don't need to do it again. We
have, and I'm telling you what, we're not going to paint snow today. We've got some snow scenes coming up, but we thought because of all the snow, if we can't get you out of town on vacation, perhaps we can take you mentally in your mind and bring summer. And then, of course, if you're watching from Australia, it is summer, so we don't have to bring you anything. It is summer, so you're going to be glad about that. So
we can't please everybody.
We can't. We're doing the best we can here, you guys. So, John, go ahead and we've got a little 8x10 canvas. It's just been painted a light gray.
A beautiful gray.
Well, it's a beautiful gray, okay? And we're using the Salvador paints tonight. We'll also be giving away a set of Salvador paints from last week's drawing, and also for this week we'll be doing that. And this is the ones I'm using. If you asked me what colors, I just used them all, man.
Oh, it looks like you used like 99%
every one
of
there
them.
was. Just you can see, I put them all on my Stay Wet palette. Now that Stay Wet palette, my daughter sent him in the art shop and said, "Mom, you got to try this. You got to try it." And I was very resistant because I've been doing stuff for 40 years one way, right? She says, "Mom, you're going to like it." And I tell you what, John loves it because the paint lasts for like a month. The Scrooge part of us going, "Wow, it saves so much money." And I love the fact that if I mix a little tiny bit of color, it's still there when I want it. It hasn't dried up. It's very hard for me now to go back to a regular palette after using this Stay Wet palette. If you want to know where to find one, in our Amazon store, and there's a link on our website, or we have it listed. It's because, and so, you can find it easily under art supplies. It's stuff that we like. And of course, the Salvador paints are there too. And we encourage you. These are fun. Whenever John and I travel, we only paint with Salvador. We take those. They're not as heavy a body as, say, a Matisse, but they're the same quality pigment, same beautiful quality pigment.
They're very pigmented.
And and because they're a little softer, they're not a soft body and they're not a heavy body, but they're very medium. So that they're a very good paint when you're learning to paint, because they have a tendency to just go along for the ride. You know what I mean? Oh, you want to be over there? Sure, I'll be over there. I'll do that too. See? So here is the painting that we're going to be doing. Originally it was a watercolor, and it's kind of old, but I thought we could jazz this up. Yes, and yes, there's a kind of, if you can see it, there's kind of a wall and like a trellis, and these big, I think probably hydrangeas or something. And then back up here, there's an ocean, and there's a person. We're not putting the person in there. They're too far gone, and they're looking the wrong way. And here's the thing. You wouldn't have a person looking out that way, because that takes your eye out of the picture. You have to have the person looking in, not out. Or like straight out to sea. That'd be okay, too, but not the way they got it. Sorry, some, I don't like what you did, right? But it's all right. I think we can work with this, but I like the little patch of light, and I think we can plant some more flowers. Let's just take this and see what we can run with it. What do you think, huh?
Let's
Yeah?
run with it.
Let's run with it. All right. So last week we did part of his painting. We did just this little part. Here was the big old house in Nantucket, apparently. And we did a little part of this. And those of you who posted yours on Facebook, some of you have done this and did fantastic, really fantastic. This is a great lesson on just how to, do palette knife. And so, and then if you wanted to, one of you, I think I saw, sent in for personal art coaching, had done the whole thing. And that, if you want the whole picture, that also is in our, on our website for, Orange members and above for our Art Academy. Okay. So for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, you're going, what's an Art Academy? Well, John and I started several years ago. We started an art school online, and I'm looking for my paper to trace. And I don't have that. I don't have any of my... You don't have to get it. We're just going to make do. Now we don't have it. So, all right, we're making do, you guys.
Do you want to grid or you want to do the chalk on the back?
Oh, yeah, we could do the chalk on the back.
We haven't done that in a while.
We haven't done the chalk on the back in a while, right? Let's just make a mess and do the chalk on the back. What do you guys think? Should just make a...
I think it's a perfect idea.
We're going to make a mess. For those of you who are getting new pastels, which is what they're very soft. They're very nice to use.
Looks like you need some new ones.
They're very, well, I've got enough. You want the light colors. If you're going to be, if you're going to be using a dark one, like a black, say, for instance, to draw on your canvas or as a transfer, the thing is, the darker the chalk, it's going to start mixing with the, with your paint. So what you have to do then is just get a light spray varnish. And if you've drawn it all on with chalk and it's dark, then just take a second and just very lightly spray that chalk and seal it in there. Because you don't want to use charcoal or something dark unless you do that, because what will happen is it's like adding black to your paint. And that may, now you notice I have all this extra stuff here. So I'll just take a little bit of a towel here and smear this around.
Smear it.
I'm going to smear this.
Oh, we also have our moderator, Lynn QC, up in Quebec.
Oh, all right.
She kicked over to her other device to get online with us.
Okay, well, that's awesome. And I want to give a shout out to some of our traveling friends. My friend Kim is, her husband decided this would be the weekend to go skiing.
Which is true. There's snow.
There's snow, right? So she sent me pictures, and it's snow, right? But she said she could watch in the hotel, and of course we've got our whole group of. I think I'll do this one more time. We've got our group of friends in Australia. Give a shout out to Anne and some of you guys, and Janany and some of our friends there in India, and we've got Janny up in Canada and our other Canadian friends. And there's more of you. And anybody else here I should give a shout out to, John, while I'm doing this? Who else is here?
Well, you have Karen Dick. You've got Vicky Rich.
Oh, hey, Vicky.
You got Becky.
Hey, Becky. Absolutely. There's Becky. Becky is one of our moderators on Facebook.
What's all that about?
Well, the thing with this is that one of the things I like to mention moderators. I know, here's the thing. The people that moderate, the volunteers, that big V here, volunteers that moderate our Facebook page, do this, out of the goodness of their heart. They're on there all the time. And I feel like if you're going to do that, at least people ought to know who you are, right? So I want to just give, again, a big thank you to everybody. And because I know it's tough, and then they come up on. We have a class. They come up on our live shows and are very helpful, and which is really, we so appreciate you guys. John and I do. Just wanted to mention that.
Ginger looks stunning, younger every Monday. I feed her well.
Oh, thanks.
Now what are you doing?
Well, you know what? It didn't transfer, babe.
What do you mean it didn't transfer? It's not working?
That would be what didn't transfer. That's how that translates. Didn't transfer. So.
Well, that was a waste of time.
Well, certainly was, right? Well, it can work. You know, generally it's better on a board than on
a squishy canvas.
On a squishy canvas. This is so. For instance, if I did it right on the edge, I bet you'd see it. See? No. I guess the peach wasn't going to do it. So, and I don't think white's going to. You're going to have to. Well, we're just going to have to break down, you guys, and just sketch it in. All right. So this is Plan B. That usually works, by the way, but it didn't. So that's okay. It didn't work. Didn't work. What do we care? We are versatile. Yes and yes.
Linda D. received her Salvador Paints and loves them. Thank you both so much. You're most welcome.
Well, we want to thank the Salvador Paint Company. It's very kind they do that. You know, it's not us. I'm telling you, they do it. And I'm happy to, you know, they put my name on the box, which is very nice, my picture on the box, which is very sweet. And because I really do like the paint. And just, and it's affordable. A lot of times people don't take, you know, they'll sit there and say, well, I can't afford art lessons because it's too expensive. Or look, there's a lot of ways to save money when you're painting. And one is don't waste your paint, thus a stay wet palette. Yes? Right? That's one way. Yes?
Yes.
And then another way is to make sure that you're buying professional paints, because when you buy, in my opinion, I have found that when people buy student grade paints, which they think is that's an economic solution, what's happened is, see, where did the line go here? Let's see it. Right there.
You want me to get up and get you a Sorrel, babe?
Probably, but you know, they're all going to sit there and say, how long is this woman going to sit here?
Well, they're saying, why aren't you using the Sorrel? What are you doing? What are you wasting my time?
I know, you could. We could do that. So
don't worry, I have nothing else to do.
Good, because I have plenty to do here, and I'm wasting my time doing this grid junk, right?
Grid junk.
Yeah.
I love when you talk dirty.
Just.
This is a
PD. This is a PG show here. There'll be none of this.
See if it works on that canvas.
There'll be none of this talk, John.
Just do a quick little number thingy.
All right, did it work? No.
See, it could be.
Where's the white? Where's the white? Could be that whatever we put on there. Where's the white?
We used that gray one time before. We couldn't get it.
Oh, give me the other canvas. Listen, maybe it's our canvas. Yeah, let's try the white. Give me the other gray. Give me the blue canvas. White works. Yeah. Well, sometimes it's the paint you're underpainting.
Yeah, we had one we could not paint.
Couldn't do anything with.
You know, I would shoot it sideways.
Would you do it sideways?
Yeah. But I go the other way so that
it doesn't get in the paint. John is just so technical. Don't you love that he's so technical? I just love how he comes up with all this stuff. All right. Well, we could do it this way. I don't know. I would have shown you how to grid in. You'll have to watch some of the other videos. That's what happens when you do stuff live. When you do stuff live, because if we were not doing this live,
this is semi-live.
This, you know, occasionally we do premieres, I could edit all this out, but then I don't, because when I make a mistake, I like to include it.
You like to include it. How about the editor? He loves to include it.
Well, here's the thing. Here's why. Because if it happens, you say, well, nothing ever happens to Ginger stuff. It always just comes out perfect. Mine sucks. You know, we get that, you know. Why does your stuff, I don't know, you want to watch something that didn't come out at all. Kind of, what barely did.
I'm going to tell you, the last lesson we just did, Restaurant Bruges, you're going to want to watch the last two parts before you even attempt to paint this painting.
Okay, so you're not even staying.
I tell you, that's some good paint I put on there.
No, let's see if the chalk is gonna. See, I'm afraid we put chalk on here. I may have to. Well, I don't know, John.
Oh, you'll be fine.
I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with any of this.
Well,
because I can't with this big piece of paper. I can't even see where I am on the edge. But all right, we'll do the best we can. Here's some tape. We'll tape it down because this has to be parallel to the sides of the canvas. Because when you're doing buildings and stuff, you can't have it. All right, so let's just go for it. It doesn't work. I'm just going to freehand it in, and you guys used a different paint than I did. Whatever that. What would you use on that anyway? Do you know?
Oh, that's 100 years old. I don't know.
So we know we want this straight up and down. There's really nothing to this picture. Okay? I go over there is absolutely nothing to here. I promise you. I mean, this picture is just, there really isn't anything to trace, which is so silly. People are going, why is she
We went
tracing
through all this, you don't even need to trace it?
Yeah, well, we just,
Do you
I
have the
wanted it
pad?
because of where the post was and everything, right? All right, so
Did
here
you do the outer edge of the...
no, I didn't do anything. I don't
Okay.
care. I did nothing.
We're going for it.
I'm just going for this.
We're going for it.
My patience is, I have used up all my kind patience. It's all gone now. Ever happened to you? It's that's it. I have no more patience. Right? And particularly when you're painting, maybe something else. Maybe we're mopping the floor today and that didn't go well either. So you really don't want your transfer paper to just fail on you, right?
You just don't want that.
All right, what do we got here? Oh yeah, see, there we go. Something. Now we'll just take a white chalk pencil, which we do have.
You have it upside down, you know.
Who does?
You do.
Do I? Oh yeah, so I do. No, I don't. Yes, I do.
Probably if you put a little bit more detail in there, you'd have more information.
I'm just telling you what. Am I just doing this with my eyes closed? I feel that that's what's happening here. All right, so I want this straight up and down here like that. Honestly, there really is nothing to this.
You keep saying that.
I know, I keep saying it, and then there's the water. I mean, honestly, there is nothing to this at all. I mean, why we had to even do that, I don't know. We certainly could have. I mean, look, we got like 4 lines. I'm telling you, anybody can do this painting, apparently, except me.
Love to see how you do it.
Okay, fine. All right, so we got some sort of gray background. There's our
What's
picture.
that I say? What palette is Ginger using? That is a 9x12, I believe.
Yeah, 9x12. I mean, I would look.
And we travel with a baby.
Sometimes it's nice to have 2 of them. Do 2 small
Well, you
ones.
do
You
have
can do
2
your
of
warm and cool colors with,
Oh.
last and spinners. You could do 3. Some for mixing on too. I really love these, and they're just nice.
They're just nice.
Particularly those, like for instance, give a shout out to Jennifer in Colorado. And, she just struggles because in the wintertime, the humidity is a big problem because there is none.
Well, you have to say the lack thereof.
The lack thereof. All right, you guys ready for this?
We've been ready for the last hour.
Have you? Oh, I see what I'm missing. Yeah, the other side of this thing.
That's what I was going to say, but you were ignoring me.
Well, because I really don't need it. Here we go. I'm going to eyeball that in right like that. Look at that. Look at that. Eyeball it in. There you go. Ooh. Let's bring that down a little bit. Yeah. Okay, good. All right, so let's just do we already have kind of this gray thing. We're not going to do the sky the same way. We're going to do a little bit more impressionistic, okay? Ready? So we've got all these colors. Let's start with a little white and one of these lighter blues. Let's do that medium blue. It's kind of turquoise. It's not ultramarine, maybe this medium blue color. And let's just come up here like that and do everything at an angle because I think that's kind of fun, okay? Now take a little bit more white and maybe one of these lighter blues. Let's do that. Okay, let's just get a little of this turquoise going down in here like this. And I'm just sort of overlapping the brush strokes and doing that very quickly. Well, I'm doing this fabulous stuff. Can I answer anything, John?
Can you answer anything?
Well, I mean, are there any questions that have been asked, dear sir?
Questions that have asked.
Yeah?
Ginger, you are a hoot today.
Just... Yeah, now we're seeing the real
great?
Hirsch.
You're both looking great. Well, thank you, Janny. We're feeling great today.
We're feeling good. I was feeling a little bit, like, you're getting older when you start listening to the tale of Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs and the stepmother starts having a point of view and you got to change sides of the story, right? Sorry.
Where did the subject matter come from?
Well, it's Hassam was an artist. He was an American artist, and this is one of his watercolor paintings that he did in around the late 1800s. That is where the subject came from. And that last week was one of his too. And we've done several of his in our academy. We have done, the carriage outside of Paris was one of his. And he was a marvelous artist and very prolific. And I look for things when I'm trying to do something for YouTube. I do look for things that I'm going to just see. I'm kind of lightening as I go down. I look for things that I think that I can teach easily and that you don't have to have any experience to do. But if you do have experience, you can knock it out of the park. How's that?
And it'd still be fun to do.
And it'd be fun to do. See, because if it gets too hard, I know, and some of you look at my artwork and say, well, I joined the academy, it's too hard. But if you look at what people say after they join, they'll say, I can't believe how she explained it. Because, I mean, when you talk about, we can go from this, for instance, to, here's a new, another painting that's coming up, going to be released in the academy this week.
Oh, here, let me back up because
back up, John. Back up. Here's one of our newest releases that you guys are going to be released this week. It's 12 by 16?
Yeah, 12 by 16.
And again, another one of our oldie G's.
And that's a new guy we found, and he's got some great stuff.
Yeah, I found him, and I thought, I need to introduce him. And I thought this was it's a great, great video on how to do snow on trees. Because a lot of you want to do herringbones, like, you want, and so this is really cool. No pun intended. It's really cool, right? But that's going to be released in our academy this week. Okay, but so all these, there's so many different ways to paint something. There's impressionistic. There's photorealism. We don't teach you anyone's style. Like for instance, if some of you remember Bob Ross, and he was a wonderful artist, but he taught his one style of painting. And what we try to do is teach you some different styles. So that you'll come up with your own kind of handwriting, so to speak, and what you're in the mood for. One of the things that happens to artists, particularly professional artists, and we know this from times past, is that they may be, say, really good at, say, portraits, but that they try to put people in a landscape, they can't do a tree if their life depended on it. People think, well, if I can do portraits, I can do anything. No, it's like specializing in medicine. You may be wonderful at bones, but not so good at brain surgery, that kind of thing, right? So we want you to be a GP of painting, have a general knowledge of how to do all kinds of different things. And then you're going to find subjects and styles that you're attracted to. So rather than be attracted to the style of painting, we want you to be attracted to the painting and then see how you might paint it. How profound is that, right?
Very. Here's a question for you.
Sure, I like questions.
Do you always need an underpainting, or can you just start to paint right on the white canvas?
I'll tell you what happens with acrylics. That's you always need an underpainting, or can you do on the white canvas? I had never, ever just painted on the white canvas. Very rare, because here's the thing. The white canvas, the surface is gesso, which is powdered God knows what, and paint. Everybody's is different, so I can't even tell you what it is. It used to be ground marble dust, and now it's got a long way from that. And if you ever watch, it's really fun to go on the internet and look at how gesso is applied on canvas. And I watched one video, and there's this lady, kind of this old lady sitting on a ladder, not even look very comfortable. And she's got a big soup ladle, and she's splatting it on. As the canvas rolls by the conveyor belt, she's going splat, 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 going, okay. So, here's the thing. Acrylic paint wants to grab other acrylic paint. And so when you have the first layer of paint on, it's so much easier to paint the next one. Okay?
Well, could you just block in everything? Basically what you're doing now, could you just do that right on the white, or should you have...
What do you mean? What?
Should you just have one solid background underpainting, or?
It depends on the painting. I usually just try to keep it simple and do one. But you certainly could have more than one color, and you may want the light up here and dark. You could just block in 3 or 4 different colors of underpainting. Kind of do that too,
yeah.
Depending. And if I was doing, and it depends. So much depends on the subject. Okay, So probably that would be, probably the answer I'd give you there. Okay, now that's too, I want to put a little wet in there. I'm using the titanium white from Golden here. And not the Matisse or the Salvador. What I'm just going to suggest a little bit of wave activity out there, okay?
Lily would like to know, do you ever find too many references and then you're frozen on what you want to paint? Yes.
Sure. And I last
we
week
have close to 100 right now to be done.
Yeah, I put them in a list of what I want to do, and then by the time I get around to them, I'm not in the mood to do them anymore. I'm on to the next thing. That happens. I used to find that happening when I sewed. When Cinnamon was a little kid, we lived in Aspen, and I found myself needing to let's see, I'm going to take a little brown here. Some brown here on the pillar here. I found myself needing to make a lot of her clothes because it was like back in those days, it was like hours to get to Denver. And there's a Sears catalog in Montgomery Ward's, or I made them. So I would make her clothes. And it was a very creative thing to do. And I really enjoyed it a lot, designing and making clothes. And I'm telling you what, we got so clever with that one. I can remember there's this one outfit that I made, and I'm going to take a little bit of this yellow oxide and this color on the inside here. And I wanted an apron. So that was back when there used to be a T-shirt shop in town that would put pretty designs on T-shirts, kind of iron them on. And I made the apron, and then I took it. I remember taking it in there and asking them to put it on my apron. So I had to do all the special. I used to do all the special stuff for her. It was really fun. I got to tell you, it was fun. Okay, so this is a little yellow oxide. Again, you asked about the underpainting. Well, this is what we're doing here because I want something a little bit yellower here. And
so really, basically, Ginger's first layer after the solid underpainting is really another underpainting.
Yeah, it is.
It's all about layers. I mean, she has like 15 layers before she's
So
done.
look here. Now I'm going to do some dark green. Here's our dark green here. Maybe some lighter green. There you go. Put a little green here like that. I'm just going to keep it kind of all off to the left. Okay. Now, you have to appreciate that his was a watercolor, so you're going to see white underneath his. We're not going to do that because in watercolor, of course, you have the white canvas. And so we're just going to come up here and maybe make this, add a little blue to this and make this a little bit darker. So I know I need these colors. I guess the thing is people say, well, how do you know what you're painting? Well, I know I need these colors on here. Does that make sense? And I know I need these colors up here on my trellis. And he had, if you really look at his stuff, he had like a, just got a little yellow oxide on the green there. He had like some part of this trellis you could kind of see here like that. And I'm going to rinse the brush. So again, I guess we're doing 2 underpaintings. We kind of did the sky, but everything else is kind of, an underpainting. And I'm going to take some white and that yellow oxide, come up like this.
In your sewing career, did you make your own patterns?
I'll tell you what I did. When I was sewing, what I would do is, my girlfriends and I, we all went down to Denver one year, Denver, Colorado, and we took a sewing course on how to alter the patterns that you have. And a lot of people don't know this about patterns, but everything's made off of one basic pattern. They call it a basic pattern, and it's just a skirt and a muslin top. And you're supposed to make yourself you're supposed to fit yourself to a basic pattern, and then you see the adjustments. Maybe you had to bring the waist up or bring, change the darts or whatever. You do that on the paper part of that basic pattern and sew that muslin in 3 pieces together. You don't actually connect the top and the bottom. You do all that. And then when you go to find another pattern in the book, like a simplicity or Vogue, they all use the same basic pattern to start with, their basic pattern, and everything is off of that. Interesting, right?
Something, this is an all educational show.
Yeah, so, and the guy was explaining to me that, for instance, clothing companies spend, you got to understand, Cindy was like 6 years old then, and I won't tell you how old she is now, it's a long time ago. He said they spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars, could you imagine how much that would be today, on a good pattern. And even still, if you go to the store and you buy, it's hard to convince men this, but if you go to the store and you're buying some blue jeans, say they're, 28 by 30, and you pick out 2 or 3 pair of those, they won't all fit the same. And the guys want to go, well, it's 20, it says, I tried these on, 28 by 30, that's my size. They want to leave the store right then and grab those jeans and go. And then, no, because just, they don't all fit. They started with 100, because there's people maybe cut the seam in a little closer. I mean, somebody's hand sewing those. They're not, somebody sewed them. Anyway, so we learned a lot about making patterns in the sense that we take the pattern that we've got and we knew how to design it. So I guess in a way we did. Yeah. That answer everybody's question? Yes?
Yeah, I think we're done with the sewing comments now. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Hey, we'd like to thank Sandra for the donation that came in through PayPal. And also we received one from Andrew. Thank you very much, Andrew, for using the Zelle.
Thank you, Andrew. Speaking of Andrew, I
wish I could.
I'm going to back out again. I got to show you. This isn't going to be released for a while, but you got to see. I thought of Andrew when I did this because he asked me about doing street scenes, and of course we've got 2. We've got one coming up pretty soon. The one with the in the academy. We've got this one. You're backed up, right?
I did back up.
This we've got this one. This one is called
Impressions of London.
And it goes very well with Hassam's one about Paris. Okay, it's interesting because people had a tendency to paint this in a similar theme. I guess the things were selling. They all figured out what everybody else was painting. He did something like it. Well, he did that. I'll do mine in London. So when I look for artwork, it's amazing how similar so many of these paintings are. So particularly in subjects and style. So there's that one, and then this is our newest one. Nobody's seen this yet. Drum roll, please. Look at that. This is called, Cafe at Night in Bruges.
No, it's called Restaurant in Bruges.
Restaurant in Bruges. Okay, well, that's what it is. So my Cook's Cafe, there you go. But it could be your cafe. Put your own name on it, right? So that's one of the ones coming up in the Academy.
And that is 15 episodes, and do watch 14 and 15 before you even attempt to do this.
Yeah, because, we
changed so much.
Yeah, because I leave that in because you need to see the decisions that are made. Okay? Why the decisions were made, how we changed it. So anyway, that's coming up. And to those who say, well, why do you keep showing your Academy lessons? Well, because we have a lot of Academy members, and this is the way people see what we're offering. We're not just doing YouTube lessons. We're offering all kinds of great stuff, and we think you'll enjoy participation in that.
Which also comes with the benefit of personal art coaching.
Yeah.
And speaking of personal art coaching, my queeness, why don't we touch on the member of the month starting back up?
Oh, yeah, this is important. We're going to be, not that everything we say is important. We're going to be starting again this year. We're going to announce it next week. We're going to have an artist member of the month. And that will, and the candidates for that, they're not necessarily the best artist that ever lived or any of that stuff. It's the artist that's shown the most improvement. But, maybe they started off, they never painted in their lives, and they just made progress. It doesn't have to be like the neatest painting ever, but we're going to acknowledge the efforts at artwork. And if you want to be included in that as an Academy member, you've got to be red or purple or blue, and you can send your artwork in for sharing. You don't have to send it in for personal art coaching, but just click the box sharing, send that in. And Yoshi, look at your pack again. I gave you the email that you have to have in your browser in order to see that we've replied to you. I don't think you have the right one. personal note to Yoshi in Israel. So you see, we have to have YouTube. All right, I want to just do this. I'm going to come up here like this, and then pulling this tape here like that. Make sure it's parallel to the top and bottom of the canvas, right?
And taut.
And I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, I think this is dry enough to do that. If this isn't dry, it's not as effective. No kidding, right? So now that I've done that, what I want to do is just is what? Something. We have I have a plan. Plan. Huh. Gosh, what could that plan be? Is there going to be a plan? I have a plan. Where's my plan? Honestly, did you bring all my palette knives back from the...
Yeah, and all of them are back in the back corner of that little box thingy, that little rotator.
Oh, no. All right, so let me just move something out. Ah, I see it. Okay. This is one of the most versatile palette knives, this shape palette knife. And I want to take a little bit of this white and brown, a little bit gold here, and I want to come this way with my post. And then I'm going to turn this around and come this way with it. I just wanted something a little bit more. I don't want to have it too perfect. So I wanted a little bit more of that. You don't mix the colors up that much. I'm just going to bring a little of this across that way. And then maybe a little of this white and yellow this way. Don't have to do, it doesn't have to be too perfect. Let's see, a little bit of this yellow oxide color. A little bit of white. I just want it I just wanted it more interesting than that one he had here. Yeah. Yes and yes.
Okay. Already an improvement.
Yeah, that's an improvement. Yes and yes. And then let's do a little bit of this yellow and put a little orange with it. I'll leave it dark right next to here, and I'll just pull all this down. And just layer this on top. I have a little green. Might be some moss growing on there. You can do this with a brush too if you wanted. I just thought it might be more interesting. Do it this way. There we go, something like that. So it just wasn't an old plain wall. What's up, funner? Then I can take.
Did you just use the Salvador Paint straight?
Yeah.
Huh.
I just used them. They'll dry flat and it'll be fine. And here we go.
It held up a little bit better than I thought it would.
Yeah.
Definitely use a gel with it.
Yeah, I'm not using a gel because we've got drying issues.
We have all kinds of issues tonight.
Okay, so we're gonna just say here's the top of this post. And then just do a line of going across here like that. Maybe white. Take a little white on a thin brush like this. And I think we could probably even bring the ocean this far, even though a lot of it will be covered
with greeneries.
With greenery, we could probably do that too. Just a little bit of continuity here. Okay. Again, doesn't look like much. You're going, yeah, I don't know, Ginger. It doesn't look like much. That's kind of awful. And that's okay. To understand how something has to look kind of awful before it can look kind of good is one of the fun things about painting, yeah?
It's got to go through the ugly stage.
We're going through the ugly stage. And while this is kind of setting up a little bit, let me just show you something. I want to thank Andrew very much for the donation and that came in. And just remind our viewers that those of you who are part of the our scholarship and our donation venue, we're at the 28th. We do this every quarter now. At the 28th of October, we will be drawing from
a fishbowl.
From a fishbowl for 3 original paintings. Well, actually, we're going to give you a choice of 5, but there'll be 3 winners. And the one of the ones that we're going to be drawing for is this little Venice study of Venice, impressionistic Venice. It's one of the studies I did before I did a very large one. And then let's see, let me just move this out of the way. And then I told you that there was a diptych, right?
You did.
So this is considered all one piece. One side's been varnished, the other one hasn't yet. But see how they go together? This will be the boy fishing. That's our diptych, and that's one of our wave. If you like this painting, that's one of our Wave and Water Masterclass tutorials. And they're really neat because you can separate them and they see everything all lines up that go together. There's our diptych. And I want you to see the difference between the artwork that's been varnished and stuff that hasn't. Because you see how it brings the color out again when you varnish. And of course they will be totally, everything will be varnished, right? And then we have this lighthouse, which was done with a palette knife. And then finally, this Wave and Water ocean scene. This is actually Laguna Beach.
It's called the Lone Pine.
Lone Pine, Laguna Beach. And it was done originally by one of the old EGs from a long time ago. But I really love this, and I think it's kind of neat. And, you know, people say, well, how would I frame this? I think what I would do is just glue some rope all the way around it and hang it like that. You know, just put a nautical, kind of a thick rope, glue it all around. They make oval frames, but, you know, that's what I would do. So anyway, for when you donate over there to our website, we have 3 different ways you can do that. Every time you reach $100 in that quarter, that gives you 1 entry into a chance to win one of these paintings.
And speaking of that, we had a few more donations come in, and we'd like to thank Michelle for her donation, and also Joan, and also Phyllis. They all use the PayPal system. And Eric, thank you once again for using Zelle.
Thank you very much. All right. Really appreciate that. Now, what I want to do here is, well, John, can you find out we want to do a drawing real quick for last week, and I need to be able to dry. This is still wet, and I need to be able to dry that real quick.
Well, you're going to have to wait a half a shake here.
So I can wait a half a shake, but I just want you to know that is the plan, is to dry this.
You know, it's nice to have plans.
Well, I think so. I mean, I can probably do something in the meantime, just
because. You don't have to. If you're ready to dry, I am.
Well, like this is dry right here. So let me just show you what we're going to do. While he's looking for.
What did we do last week?
We did the
old house.
The old house. Yes, we just showed that at the beginning of the show.
Well, you think I was paying attention?
Well, you know, the fun thing about getting older is that
old house and salad. Oh, PJ, I like what PJ.
You don't notice so much when you forget things. You forget them, but don't even know you forgot them. So how bad could it be, right?
It can't be bad at all. So you're still painting?
Well, I want you to get. I want to be able to.
I'm ready when you're ready.
Are you ready? I wanted to just.
You didn't think I'd be that quick, did you?
Well, I did.
You had doubts
because you struggled.
I don't struggle.
So what are we giving away?
We have our $50 gift certificate for a downloadable.
Okay.
And the Salvidor with the paints, palette, paper, whatever all comes with.
All right, so we have a little.
It has a palette, brushes, palette knife, sponge.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to dry this. Go ahead and start.
Okay, I've muted the queen. No, hey. You can't come back and start talking after I mute you. Now go ahead and talk.
I just say, I love how we do this because it's so random. It's really the fairest. It's always been random, but you guys will see how random this is.
What are we talking about?
Our drawings. It's a machine that does it. So random, so good, right?
Talk to them. Talk to them. All right, here we go. Let me fire up the old browser here. There we are. And we're going to do the drawing for the downloadable old house. Oops, we got to get our. What you do is after the show. I'm going to do that again on me. Let me just. Oh, there it is. You got to get the. You got to put a comment in after the show. Not during the show. We can't track those. We're going to get rid of duplicates. It can be in a reply, and we have specific text, and it's called Old House. And spelling count. And we have 76 people. So the winner of the $50 downloadable is this person here. Virginia Welch. Virginia, you have 10 days to use to contact us and let me know that you have won a $50 gift certificate. You want me to do the other drawing while I'm here, or do you want me to wait?
Just wait a minute. We may have to try something.
Oh, well, let's wait.
Am I back on now?
Well, no, I haven't turned you on. Now you can talk.
I asked if I was back on. I didn't ask you to turn me on. All right. Yes, I'm back, you guys. Hi. So, sorry, this has been a day, right? All right. So I dried that. So you're going, yeah, okay. So what, Ginger? It looks terrible. That's okay. You got to see, one of the reasons that it's fun to watch step-by-step lessons is you got to get to the ugly stage, get past it, right? So what do we know for sure? Well, we know for sure that more has to be done to this painting to have it look good. We know that we've got a light area in here. All this is going to be foliage. So I'm going to use a small little brush here, and I'm going to start with my darkest colors. Now, you could be using texture in this if you wanted. This is where you could be taking what you learned last night, because it's a kind of ultramarine blue and that
what
darkest
I learned
green.
last night had nothing to do with it.
Monday night. Yeah, Monday. Well, you learned the last Monday on if you wanted to do a little texture. And we're going to go kind of this way. We're going to come out like this, and we're going to suggest that there's some leaves. And I'm just going to tap this on there like that. There's some of our lighter color. It might even take a little yellow oxide in this area. Okay, and we're going to say that this, I'm going to come up here like that and say that there is on our post. I wasn't worried about getting it too straight for you, because what do we know for sure? We know for sure that we've got all this great foliage growing up here behind this post and over most of this. And when I'm doing foliage, I always like to start with the darkest color first and then get the darker greens and then keep going. So we've got something coming down there like this. And here's our window. You're not going to see that much in the window. There was a lot going on here that just doesn't need to be in this picture. So this is called editing. We're doing an edit.
You're updating it.
We're updating it. So I'm going to come up here like this. You're only going to see, because it's kind of like at an angle, this window. It's like a triangular angle thing. I'm going to come up here like this, and we're going to go ahead and put in our leaves. And that whole post thingy is just covered. All right, like that. So we're just going to say there's that ultramarine blue and that darker green. We're just going to come up here and do these little brush strokes, kind of at a little bit of an angle, kind of like I did the sky. And I'm going to come up in this way. And already it's looking better, yeah? And let's just do something dark up here like that. Change the size of the leaves as you get further along, all right? So now I'm going to take some of this yellow oxide color, and I'm going to go ahead and go over this one and come up here and suggest other plants here. Let's take a little bit of white and turquoise, kind of a blue color, and do that too. Let's just get a little bit more colors in this than we've got. And I want to come in here like that and suggest that there's
it's already looking better.
Different flower garden. All right. Now, if you were worried about, protecting an edge, you can always take your tape back like this, right? And just there, then you can get right up to the post and you're okay. Now, I want to avoid a straight line here, so let's bring some of these up a little higher so we don't have a straight line. Just a little bit more random, okay? You see these different greens in here like that. And I'm just going to come on over here and do that. The same thing over here on my wall. And then when all this green is dried, then we'll come back and put in some other colors. Now, the trick I guess we have to ask ourselves is how white do we want that wall? In his painting, that wall was pretty light. And we can still have that. I'm not against that particularly. Down in this area, we're going to go with white and yellow oxide. Down in this area, we're going to just come up here with some of this underpainting and make it a little bit lighter to indicate foreground. I'm just going to, not even, just kind of scribbling, really. Yeah. Yep, Justin, yes?
You see how they made it, now pushed it right behind that wall.
Yeah, isn't that interesting how that
That's
works?
just amazing.
So then the question you've got to ask is, so what else could I do? So I might take some of that he's got a little bit of that kind of yellow oxide color going up here, up the light, and we're going to add some more light to that, maybe a little. Let's take a little lighter yellow. Come on up here like this. Tap on top while it's still wet. And just suggest something a little lighter up in here. Even up in here too. This is where you can just sort of mix colors right on the canvas. That's a little, maybe take a little yellow and white. I think that'd be cad yellow medium and white, something like that. That's a little bright. Back to yellow oxide. Let's just lighten this up. Oh, let's do that light green color. That's pretty. There we go. Bring that color in front of this one. Some of this over here. All right, so that, again, you see how we're putting it in, and it's really kind of pretty. So then the question then remains, do we like, would we want the white? What was kind of pretty about this was the lighter color. So I think what I want to do is go back to my sky a little bit, and I want to add some lighter clouds back up in here like this. I want to just kind of lighten up my sky a bit. And just, this can be the either zinc white or the white that comes in the kit. You're going to kind of lighten something up in here like that. Let's see, I'll just put a little. Now, do I want to add anything? I do kind of like the, I'm going to take this lighter color here, that one that kind of, whatever. Just do some sort of light color with white. And say, could we lighten up this post a bit? Maybe we're going to say kind of light's coming from kind of this direction, so maybe that's lighter. And again, we could just, you don't want it to look too too mechanical, and sometimes that can happen. So again, I'm kind of playing with the lights and darks on this and see where else I want them. My post is going to end here anyway, and there'll be a little bit of burnt sienna. That's a pretty color. A little bit of a shadow here. So again, I'll just kind of sneak back in.
I tell you, they got some great
here.
colors in that Salvador kit.
Oh, you could just reach around and grab a few, which is so nice, right?
Just ready
and
to
I
go.
just think I want a little bit darker here. Now, what he did do, which I missed. I missed.
What'd he do?
What he did was, I missed it. What he did was, and we're going to take a little bit of this white and blue, was that there's an edge. There's an inside edge to this post right here. Right like that.
Oh, it was a square post.
It's a square post.
And
it's not round. Yeah, there's that inside edge. Right? And we'll just...
Kind of a shadow.
Kind of a shadowed edge. And we'll get rid of
nose.
The shadow nose. All right, so just did a little bit of an inside edge to that. Because, I mean, I do kind of like his colors. And I want something that looks like kind of moss green, you know, like put a little orange with the green and make it look like maybe there's some moss green on this wall. I had fun with the palette knife, but I don't see, the thing is, you can try a palette knife, and if it worked out perfectly and you love it, that's beautiful. And if you don't, you got, this is, you know, you can't say enough about layering, right? Because then you can just, each layer wants to grab the next one. Yes and yes.
Keep building it up.
Yeah, so you could just, all right, so far so good, yeah? Now we're starting to get somewhere. We're starting to see what, here's like this little light across the top. Okay. And we haven't put the hydrangeas or the flowers in yet, but I think I kind of like what we've got. I might just come over here now with some, oh no, let me rinse that off and do some darker green.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
So when using a watercolor for your reference, would you just plan it by the colors? I mean,
I think so. I would just plan it by kind of the colors and the design. And they're going to, of course, you know, in watercolor, the trick is to save out your whites. And in, because they don't have white, so they have to really go to great lengths. Watercolors are very difficult to do, and they take a certain kind of mind, I feel like. When you see a really advanced watercolor, the planning in that, because there's very little room for mistakes. And you have to really decide what the whole thing's going to look like before you're done.
There's no do-overs.
And watercolor paper is not inexpensive to use, but it's a good. But a lot of our sometimes you can go out and just do a fun little sketch with watercolor, and there's a little bit of brown and burnt in that green. Here I'm going to do something a little darker in here like that. Okay, and in here like that. There we go. Okay, and I think that this needed to come across here and indicate straight. Now, if I do this up here, there we go. I'm going to take some white. Alive. And so anyway, with watercolor, you just, half the time I change my mind. I love acrylics because you can do them very quickly. You can dry if you don't like what you did. And you can come up with plan B so easily.
And C and D.
Yeah, I'm going to just suggest that there are some little flowers back up in here. Just some white and blue.
Hey, we'd like to thank a couple of people here for donations that came in through PayPal. That would be Miss Sharon. Thank you, Miss Sharon. And also one from Sally.
Oh, Sharon and Sally, thank you very, very much for this. That's awesome. We appreciate it very, very much. And here we're going to lighten this back up here a little bit because he had his pretty light back here. So I'm just adding white to some of these greens, okay? That's all I'm doing. A little bit more green here. Because I love that light green. This light green in Salvador is one of my favorite colors. Absolutely love that, called yellowish green. I mean, you can make that, but it's lovely.
It's ready to go here.
It's ready to go. That's what I love about that. It's just that they're ready to go.
And when you're traveling, you can't beat it.
And you come along and you just want to paint something and you're in the mood to paint. You don't want to stop, right?
Just go.
So
just go.
Yeah, and you remember that you want the darker colors underneath like that in your picture. Okay, so we might put some other flowers there, but we got something going here. Now, so far so good, yes? Now, he did something kind of interesting. He had some blue as his shadow color, which, of course, there wouldn't be. It's an exaggeration. And he had a little blue line going along here like that. I can put that in. I'm not against it. Now, notice that. I want you to see how I'm doing this. My hand's here, and then I'm pulling my really almost my shoulder. Nothing's moving. I'm just gently.
You're not using your wrist.
No.
You're not using your fingers.
Just pulling it, okay?
It's a very mechanical move.
Yeah, it's a mechanical move, and let's just do a little bit darker down here. Let's just give that a little bit more shadow there. So it's a little bit of depth, and we've got some shadow, some of this blue shadow coming across here like this in our paint. And then back up in here like that. We've got a little bit of a blue shadow coming off the bottom. A little darker than that. Okay. Let's see, do I want some of this darker blue? Okay, so there we go. And I'd see this little bit of shadow back here like this. Blue shadow up in here like this. All right, so that indicates that it got a line going this way, and that path brings you into the picture. Or if you put a big rock here, you keep people from coming into the picture.
You don't want to do that.
So do I do that?
No.
No, you don't want to do that.
And don't put a tree there either.
But I mean, look, it didn't take us long. Now, for me, he had a girl back in here, which I don't think we need, but you know, what if we had a sailboat? I think we could have a sailboat.
Really? Just like that, you can throw a sailboat in there.
I think so. Maybe a couple of them.
Couple buzz out.
What if there's a couple of sailboats? Now, there's a day at the beach, right? That feels already better, right? Just a little sailboat. And there we go. Just to indicate just a little bit of a sail. I mean, could be a nice garden porchy thing. Yeah. All right, so I'm into my light greens again. Yes. Just maybe a little bit of yellow oxide in that light green color. That's pretty too. Come on up here like that. And we'll bring it on up. Coming up this way. And we'll do more with this, but we've got...
We just started.
We just started, okay?
Layers upon layers.
Yeah, layers upon layers. So we've got these hydrangeas, and he did a lot of blue, which is pretty. The blue's pretty, and it's almost abstract. It's very impressionistic and almost abstract. Though impressionism doesn't necessarily mean that you don't know what the subject is, okay? That's just not true at all, because you do. Let's see, I want to just make that line a little bit better. There you go. You do know what the subject is, but like, for instance, you see all this blue in here. I'm just going to do some of that. See how it comes out, right? So I'm just going to take some blue and just sort of...
To plop it in there.
Plop it in there. Maybe let's kind of follow his brush direction a little bit. Mostly it's at an angle. Probably this medium blue here. And a little bit of white with it, probably. There you go, a little bit of white. Okay. It's not real light, but we're going to just say that we're going to come in here like this and suggest that there's some dark blue with these flowers kind of up in here too. It's pretty, and it's an interesting pattern. And one of the things that's fun to do a painting like this is because it's not something I'd ever think to do. And it wouldn't occur to me to do this at all, but I might like it. If I don't like it, I can always paint it out. There you go. Here's a little bit darker blue coming up there on this post. Okay, I'm just gonna. This is what we call kind of a quick sketch, wouldn't you say, John?
So far.
Okay. Now I need to dry that. So when I dry that, John's gonna do a drawing for the Salvador Paint set, which is didn't I have that here?
Yes, you said you had it.
I have it. I just had to move all these paintings. So this is what we're going to be drawing for. And of course, they can only send it to people from the United States right now because of the way shipping is.
Continental U.S.
Continental U.S. So anyway, so if you entered for that from last week, this is the one has all the neat brushes. Comes with the full set of brushes and the palette and everything. This is really neat. Neat. Great travel kit.
All right. Can I mute you now?
Yeah.
All right. The queen is gone once again. We've taken over, people. All right, we can say where we are, and we need to put in Salvador Kit. Again, this is the video from last week, and what you do is after the show, you write a comment, and we give you the hashtags. There's always Salvador Kit, and then this week it's called Seaside, I think. I have to check it. So we'll just change this to Salvador Kit. Do you want me to have you talking again, boss? You're talking again?
Mm-hmm.
All right, the boss is talking. We have 54 people.
Oh boy.
And the person that won the Salvador Complete Kit with brushes and accessories is the Night Watch. I have no idea who the Night Watch is. So winner of the Night Watch, and it looks like you have a popcorn as your icon. Congratulations, Night Watch. Use to contact us on acrylicpaintingwithgingercook.com and say you won the Salvador Kit, and we need your shipping address, please. Thank you for all that participated. We do appreciate it. And let me go verify the word for tonight. I'm pretty sure it's seaside.
Okay, you ready to come back to me?
Oh, we're always back with you, my queen.
All right, so I've got a little of the heavy gloss gel out. Last week we used the Matisse
Yes, seaside.
other stuff, and then you could use modeling paste. So I thought it might be fun to have a little texture, right? Yes and yes. So I thought for these hydrangeas it might be pretty, these big hydrangeas. So I want a little bit of white paint and the modeling paste.
Now the modeling paste
this is heavy gloss gel rather than modeling paste. I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to suggest that. I know I've got a flower. I'm just going to dop it on here like this. It's like a half of a grapefruit or something.
Half of a grapefruit.
Mm-hmm. You want it white. You might put a little tiny bit of color with it, maybe just a touch of brown, just not a pure white. A little bit of yellow oxide. There you go. So it's just, you can just, so it's white, but it just, kind of isn't, right? Here we go. Let's just roll our brush. So we're just using the corner here and drop that on. Here's our flower, and we got another one up here like that. Kind of this group, and I want a little more white in some of this. Here we go. And just do a few little dots like that. Some around the other side of this, right? And then we've got a nice big one here. And then just drop it on. It will add that texture. Now, could you have gone ahead and done all of this texture too? Absolutely. Could have done all of this in texture and just kind of let it dry in between. Never hurts. Okay.
Question: have you ever added the gel after you were done with the painting, or do you always mix the paint?
You have to do it before. Otherwise, you want to do it now. When you're doing thick like this, you got to add the paint.
Add the paint to the gel.
Mm-hmm.
You're coloring the gel.
Yeah, you want to color the gel. Here's a little bit of white. You can add paint on top of the gel. For instance, that one is a little bit less bright over here. It's just got a little bit of the underneath color of this flower. I always like to put the underneath color first. And just suggest that there's something a little bit darker underneath. Like so. And these here we go. Let's just go into the white paint. Just tap it like that. Don't make it uneven. Don't make it a perfect circle. All right.
Random.
Yeah, you want something a little random here. You just want to suggest that there's these flowers growing in here like that. And I think this one comes up a little higher. This may be one that's coming up this high. And it's just something over here too, maybe off the edge. Kind of break up this edge a little bit.
Now, the question is, if you're using gels and on the edge, you want to be careful not to get it too high if they're going to frame it, right?
Well, they don't get too high. They'll be okay. It should be fine. It really should be fine. I want this a little bit whiter. And again, when this dries, you can come back and change the color, right? You certainly can do that. Now, what I want to do is I'm still in the gels. I'm in these light colors. I'm going to take a little bit of this yellow color with the gel. And a little bit of the maybe orange. Kind of make this. That's pretty. These two yellows. Yellow and light orange. That's pretty. And I'll put a little gel with that too. And I want to say that there's a couple of these flowers in here like that. Maybe put a little bit more orange in that one. And just suggest that there's something here like that. And maybe behind this post, there's some flowers growing back here. What do you guys think? There's something back here, give you a little depth in that, right? And then he decided he wanted more yellow ones coming up on the right, but we can go with that. He wanted a little bit more yellow. Let's take a little bit of this yellow, white, and but it's got a little more depth in that. It's a little yellow oxide. There we go. Almost a touch of orange in it. So we're going to say over here, there might be some yellow flowers growing on this up here like that. We might tap a few in. Okay.
Night Watch, if you're in Canada, no, we cannot ship outside of the U.S. So if you're Canadian, I'm sorry, no. Let me know so we can pick another winner.
All right, so I've got this, right? We don't want too much of that, you know? I mean, it's interesting how you can change something. It really doesn't look like much of anything. And then you can do all this great stuff just by suggesting you gotta put a little gel with that too, the green. Here, I want to suggest I've got, here's some little brighter green going up this post like this. And kind of put that in the picture. Now I'm going to just do some of this lighter color, a bit of white. I definitely have some lighter green in here, but it's got a little bit of orange in it. Not quite that bright. All right, it's lighter green, but it's just got a little bit of orange in it. I'm going to sit there and say that this happened. You've got to be kind of careful. You don't want to get into the
into your jellies.
Into your gel stuff, because we didn't dry it, right? We got very willy-nilly with we didn't bother to dry it.
The modeling paste Ginger is using Goldens.
Yeah. See, just this one angle brush. We've done like the whole painting with this one little angle brush. Now what happened was here, that the blue, some of that blue kind of cut into our hydrangeas a little bit. And then
Really would like to know, what do you think about the Salvador brushes?
The Salvidor brushes are,
They're soft.
The pointy ones work well for me. I prefer a very stiff brush. So for me, depending on what you were painting, that you can, if you were painting Salvador in the watercolor style, they would be perfect. How's that? Because you can paint Salvador with a lot of water too, and do it probably more in the style that my daughter does when she has a little watercolor, when she's using acrylics, and I think they'd be good. But for me, I need a little bit stiffer brush. Brighten up this blue here.
We have to pick another Salvador winner. The Night Watch is a Canadian.
Okay.
We used to be able to ship there, but times are tough and we can't get out of the U.S.
Well, yeah, I'm telling you what. I mean, things have. We don't have to tell you, dear friends, that things have changed, right? Without just enough said, right? I'm putting a little bit of white back in there, behind there, a little bit of flowers. And then I'm going to come up with just white paint. And like I say, I can tap on the little dots of white.
Just some highlights.
Yeah, just a little bit of highlights on something. And again, we're sort of taking what he did with his watercolor. He allowed some of the white to show through. And we're just doing this a little bit differently. But still, I feel like we've got... I feel like we have captured sort of the essence of this. Don't you guys think so?
Well, I think you have.
And drop in a few more little... Don't want to overdo it, but drop in a few more of these pretty flowered colors. I love all these different oranges in the Salvador. Just pick one that kind of looks nice to you, because I think they all look nice. But I mean, just it's kind of, boy, it really brightens it up, doesn't it? And you don't want to, there would be a temptation, I think, maybe at some point to want to, maybe put the vine or something up here. I don't think I would. I wouldn't put more flowers up here because it's just going to get too busy on you. So I would just kind of limit what you're doing. But still, I feel like we've got the gist of that. That's a little bit too bright yellow here. Let's tap that down. I don't want anything that bright back there. And do we want anything lighter right here? Maybe. Better bring your eye forward a little bit more here. Well, I think that's pretty much my interpretation of this painting. Which is kind of fun in itself, right? I mean, what can you do that's a little different? How can you take a watercolor and, just have something go like that? And he had all these fun little dots of color. If you look at his, if you get a close-up of his, you can see he had all these little dots of color.
Like some other kind of little blue flower.
Yeah, kind of growing all over here like that. These little dots of blue color. And it just it's just different. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have thought of this garden in a million years. So one of the people said, well, why do you like to do that? Because, let's see, and I want that turquoise here. Because I wouldn't have thought of this in a million years.
A million years?
Yeah, not even in a million years would I have thought of that, of doing that. But here we have, some sort of vague kind of watercolor. And you can see how... and we've got that effect, which I think is kind of neat. Don't you guys think so? So when you think about that, I mean, there's that style of painting. Be ready to back out, John.
All right, 1 second.
Which is a totally different style of painting than what we're going to be releasing for our Wave and Water Masterclass in the Academy this month. Wait till you guys see this. This is another.
Oh, yeah, my buddies.
Another old dead artist in our polar bears. But, I mean, if you want to talk about ice floats and waves and stuff, isn't that fun? And this original was done right around 1900 of the polar bears. So I thought that was just perfect for a Wave and Water for January, and that will be released pretty quick. If not this weekend, this or next week. So
it's still on the editing floor, as they
John's
say.
still editing a lot of hours on that. But again, that's a totally different way of painting than, say, this. So, but the fun is when you do all of this stuff, when you learn all this stuff, you guys. Here, back out again, right? Again, that's totally different than this one. Our strawberry cheesecake.
It looks delicious.
This style is different than this style. But, do it all and then find out what your style is. Yes. We want to do that. So I want to encourage everybody to sign up for our newsletter. So we're going to start being much more diligent. That's our kind of resolution for this year, is to send out more informative newsletters with artist tips included in them. So acrylic painting with gingercook.com. And then where could they sign up for a newsletter on that, John?
Homepage.
Homepage. There you go, right? And here's a trick, too. I want to remind you guys for a few things. If you just start signing, what could I paint? Look under, what's the first tab, John? For painting?
Oh, on the website?
Yeah, on the website, John. What's the first tab?
View lessons by subject or size.
View lessons are by subject or size. We have got lessons that are just, if you just have
Pre-sorted. Pre-sorted.
all sorted. There's over 500 lessons, and we've got them sorted like by size. I mean, I have an 8x10 canvas. What could I paint? By difficulty level, like 1 cookie, 2 cookie, 3 cookie. By subject, broken it down even from not just animals, but farm animals and wildlife and all that stuff, right? And landscapes with water and landscapes with buildings. We've got it broken down so that if there's so many lessons, we know you can't do them all. So don't try to rush. Find something that really interests you. Take your time and do it. If you're a red, purple, or blue member, take a moment, send it in for personal art coaching if you want, and see what insights that you might gain from that. And we'll go on. But I want to thank everybody for being a subscriber to our YouTube channel. And sure, if you've been watching this at all, you've already subscribed. I don't think I even need to ask, do I?
No.
But, you might put this in a playlist, tell your friends, show us what you're doing on Facebook, because we want to see. And I think I'm going to sign this right there. What do you think, you guys?
Well, the consensus is, where are the birds?
There could be birds.
There's no tracks. There's no bird.
Well, we did the sailboats, right? This one.
So the birds are going to be little dots if you're going to put them way out there.
Yeah, yeah. We have the birds, and I kind of lost this sailboat. Ooh, I just put my hand in the paint. I kind of lost this sailboat here. There, the sailboat. See, we needed that sailboat, and I think we would just sign it right here. Now, do you know the trick about signing?
I do.
I know John does. You know, the trick about signing is that, remember, there's going to be a frame, so make sure you put your signature at least a finger's within from the edge of a canvas, so that if somebody frames it, they don't lose your magnificent signature. And, we actually have a video on YouTube on how to sign your paintings, so you might look for that.
Yeah, you might.
So was this fun? I hope so. We certainly enjoyed having you. I want to thank everybody. And the question for this week is, what's our question for this week?
What's our hooey?
Well, we're going to be giving away another Salvador Paint kit and another downloadable lesson. You can enter for that. And the question is going to be...
Oh, wait. We have to do another Salvador kit. Or you want to give the Night Watch a credit of like $25 for a downloadable?
Yeah, give her $50 for downloadable.
50. You talked to the accounting department, did you?
Yeah, she gets a $50 Night Watch.
Okay, Night Watch.
You get a downloadable lesson, and
so Night Watch, if you're still there,
you get a downloadable lesson, and
use the contact us.
Use the contact us, which we try to be uber duper fair on this, right?
Uber duper. So we'll have fair. No Salvador tonight.
And we'll have what?
No Salvador tonight.
Oh, because we didn't draw for one, right?
Well, we drove for one, but she's Canadian. Night Watch is Canadian. So we just gave her that instead of Salvador. We'll pass on Salvador this week.
Okay, then next week we'll do it, okay? Is that okay with you guys? We hope so.
Just remember, if you're going to go for the Salvador kit, you have to be continental U.S.
Yeah, okay. We could do that. All right, so I'm still asking for next week what our question was. Well, I'll tell you what, we'll do it twice next week.
I don't think Salvador lets us do that.
They won't let us do it? Okay, so, we missed them, so we're sorry about that. So,
yeah.
All right, can do that. So, that being said, we'll
skedaddle.
We're going to skedaddle, but I want to know what the question is for the week is, what is your New Year's resolution for painting for this year? What are your intentions? What do you want to do this year? We've asked it before, but you've had more time to think about it.
Really? What is it now?
Well, I mean, we're going to try and get out more newsletters, right?
Yeah.
What are you going to do that's going to make it easier for you to paint? What are you guys going to do? What are you going to do? You going to, buy some new brushes? Are you going to clean up your studio? Are you going to join the academy? Are you going
Well,
to
these
join
are
our
all things I
Facebook
wanted
club?
to do.
What are your great newest plans for more stuff to
2022.
do for 2022?
2022.
And I'm seeing this, and as this is drying, you know that this is drying. I want to do one little thing. You guys watching? I just want a little bit of
Oh,
light.
I knew it.
Well, I mean, that's
Once it's
important.
signed, you're not supposed to do anything. You're done.
I know, but I just
You break that rule.
I know. I just want a little bit lighter right there because it dried. I just want a little bit lighter right there to kind of balance off that white. Then I can put my red slash in, and then we all can be happy. Yes. And there. There. All right, you guys. Thanks for watching. See you next Monday. And I can't wait to read your responses. Bye.
Bye.
Well, you guys, I don't think I can look at another commercial about how to unstop the toilet, or maybe you two can learn to draw. That, you know, we have to have those in our video in order to kind of cover some costs, but I thought it would be fun, as long as we were doing it, to put a commercial in for ourselves. So here's the commercial from me to you. I want you to have a wonderful day. I want you to be the artist you can be. I want you to get up in the morning and say, today's the day I'm going to be happier than I was yesterday. This is my commercial in wishing you the bestest, happiest day of your life. And art hugs from John and I.
I'm a student, I say with glee, of Ginger Cook's Academy. Take your time and do not rush. Use ruby satin, silver brush. Don't use black and mix the green. Learn what blend and grayscale mean. Yes, I hope each day to earn coaching praises as I learn. I'll be an artist, wait and see. Ginger means the world to me.